Oh, hey there! Dropping a needle on Kayla Ray's music can feel a bit like driving down a sun-baked two-lane highway. You roll the windows down, feel a sticky warm breeze circling your hair, and you let the soundtrack of real-life stories fuel every mile of the drive. And for Kayla Ray, a rising country artist and songwriter, that's no accident. A native of Waco, Texas, Ray was baptized to the tune of Bob Wills and Tanya Tucker. She can recite Merle Haggard deep cuts without missing a beat. And, as a kid, Kayla often tuned into the Grand Ole Opry with her grandfather, by whom she was raised, who built a makeshift antenna to ensure the family picked up a long-distance AM signal from faraway Nashville, Tennessee. She spent her early years cutting her teeth in the industry, studying the rules of the road with country music's Gimble Family, before tour managing for honky-tonk staple Jason Eady. In 2014, she graduated from backstage to center stage, releasing her first all-original album and touring the national independent circuit singing her songs, sprinkled with appreciation for the artists who helped raise her, Hank, Tom T. Hall, and of course, Loretta Lynn. Since then, she's released 3 independent albums and has since built a fan base and a hard-earned 10-year touring history. This, in addition to her 2024 label debut, The World's Weight, a collection of songs doused in days of fall too hard love and nights of brown liquored therapy. It debuted June 7th of 2024 via Average Joe's Entertainment. This week is Kayla Ray week here on the Boston Chris podcast. Make sure you like the video and subscribe or comment down below where you are watching from. We are so excited to chat with my old friend Kayla Ray right here on the show, and I hope you guys love it. Without further ado, let's get into it in depth and candid with the one and only Kayla Ray.
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hey y'all, this is India Ramey. Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Christian.
Guys, I got Kayla Ray here, longtime friend, and it's been a minute since her and I chatted on the show. I did just see her live, though, not too long ago. How you been, Kayla?
Good. Thanks for having me. It
Yeah,
has
no-
been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Shoot, I think we met, like, what, maybe 8 to 10 years ago?
Yeah, probably so. I was trying to think earlier today. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I know it's been a while. One of my favorite songwriters. I love you so much. Just your vibe has always been so badass. I just love what you do, and so much has changed over the years, and I'm kind of excited to unpack a little bit. All right. The first one I've actually got them both chosen already. The first one that I'd like to chat about is Jameson Waltz.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about this song?
Sure. I wrote that by myself, but I was supposed to. It was actually, ironically enough, a Christmas song challenge. I go through this like bah humbug, I hate these songs thing,
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine challenged me to. He was like, "Well, then write one. If you just hate them all so much, why don't you. But instead, this is what happened. I can't remember now what his song was. His name's Jonathan Parker. He's a writer from the Carolinas, but. We had played a Christmas show together in Springfield, Missouri, and it was called the Sweaty Ball, and it was a fundraiser for Toys for Tots. Anyway, so
That's
we were
so
kind of
funny.
teasing each other. But I know about that. The band Porter Union, they put it together. But anyway, I just remembered that night that I drank plenty of Jameson. And at the time, I'd moved to Springfield, so I lived like 5 minutes from there. Somebody, God love him, took me home. I went home with my guitar out of its case and a napkin in my pocket that said, on one side it said, "There's no repentance for the drunkard's consensus." And the other side it said, "Does this look like I know what I'm doing?" So I felt obligated to finish it. That was my Christmas song of whatever year that was. I guess, gosh, 17, 18. I
I
don't
I
remember.
never would have guessed that this was supposed to be a Christmas song. That is so
Yeah.
funny. Really stoked to show you guys this song. It's Jameson Waltz by Kayla Ray. Y'all check it out.
This song is about one of the most consistent things in my life. I call it the Jameson Waltz. Till death do we part, to hand hold. See, it's a long way from sundown to the dawn of growing old. He swings a hammer and drives a nail, but it's in vain, for he can tell that my love for him died long ago. See, he's competing with your memory and Jameson whiskey, while the band plays another losing waltz. And there ain't no repentance for the drunkard's consensus when it's as simple as I can't get over you. It's here for my long lost cousin Ricky. See, there are things a woman wants, there are things a woman needs, and there are things she can't live without. And there are things that time will change, things that time can't erase, and there are things that time knows nothing about. See, he's competing with your memory and Jameson whiskey, while the band plays the last cheater's waltz. And there ain't no repentance for the drunkard's consensus when it's as simple as I can't get over you. No, there ain't no repentance for the drunkard's consensus when it's as simple as I can't get over you.
All right, so we are back. So Kayla has been on many different formats that I've done over the years. We started with I think the ETX Rock Show. Then you did Songbirds and Troubadours with Heather Little, of course, which was just a badass freaking show. One of the coolest things I think I've ever produced. It was so cool. I think that was the time. That's when you met Heather for the first time, right?
We had just met. Yeah, I met her at the House of Blues in
Okay.
Dallas. We ended up being on a thing, and it was like, oh, you're my people. We have a cult in common.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. She calls him her practice husband, her practice husband, and I was engaged for a very short time to this guy, and their families had been a part of the same religious affiliation.
I gotcha. So where did you grow up? I couldn't really find much information on that. Was it Waco or?
Yep, I grew up just south of Waco in a little town called Robinson, but nobody ever knows where that is, so I just call it Waco.
So what's it like growing up in that part of the world for young and?
It's changed quite a bit, I think now, but I was raised predominantly with my grandparents, so we just had a little acre patch, and we had two pretty huge garden patches, one for vegetables and one for fruit, and we had chickens and pigeons all crammed into that 1 acre, and a shop that my grandfather worked in. And my friends always would tease me about the kind of music we listened to, but that was the kind of music my grandparents listened to, classic country stuff. But I remember some friends of mine bringing me like a Bowling for Soup CD, like, you need this, you know, you need to be part of the current day. But I mean, it was great. There was a lot of chaos, don't get me wrong. That's a big reason that I was with my grandparents. But with them, I was very sheltered from that. And the little church we went to was a mile up the road. And my pastor taught me my first open chords because he used to be on the circuit. And so he would teach me like Hank Williams Senior songs before choir practice was there. And then we'd change and play Luke the Drifter songs because he understood duality,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great experience. My grandparents were precious people. The most technologically advanced thing in our house was the microwave, and we had a VCR. And I mean, I'm gonna age myself now, but I graduated in 2008, so it's not like there weren't more advanced things,
Right.
but they were just very old school is the cliche way to put it, but rooted in who they were, and they had the things they needed, and that was enough.
I think one of the coolest things as an interviewer to learn about is the genesis of a creative person, right? And with you, it's so intriguing just because of how you ended up, right? Like, just the fact that you're dropping a name like Luke the Drifter is why I love you so much. Like, I love Luke the Drifter. I listen to him at least once a week, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people listening to this show who have no idea who we're talking about, probably. Luke the Drifter was an alias of Hank Williams, and just it was almost spoken word country music in a way, and just great stuff. But do you feel like, I mean, I think the answer to this question is probably pretty obvious, but do you feel like the being raised by a generation older than what should have happened really shaped who and what you became later on as a musician and an artist?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know that that's true because my grandparents were so, not only were they older, but they were just so blatantly who they were,
Right.
sometimes to a fault. I know that that's true. And I'm really grateful for it in hindsight. And I think I was grateful for it growing up also, but I was still just an asshole teenager sometimes, But I knew how I got to see them be so loving to everybody. And they just, yeah, I know that influenced all of this. And too, my grandfather's favorite songwriter was, his two favorite musicians were Tom T. Hall and Shostakovich. And I'm sure that's not how you say that, but that's how I was raised to say it. And my grandmother, she loved Hank Thompson. And they were so staunch about that it was like, early country music or no music at all, none of that rock and roll mess,
Yeah.
I had to get out of the house before I learned about who Townes, Van Zandt, and Guy Clark were. Like, that was too risque for our house.
Wow. Did
Yeah,
you ever not love it? Right? Because when you're like inundated with one style of anything, you can either really gravitate towards it and love it all the time, or you kind of draw some kind of resentment towards it. Was there any of that for you?
No, I always loved it. And I think it was just because I was dealing with adult themes in my life, and those songs were adult themes. And I saw that made my grandparents proud. I think from being pretty, a kid, you want to make the people, around you proud of you.
Sure.
And so they just always really encouraged it, and I loved it. I do have like a fondness for classic rock, though. Both of my parents really loved, that 80s, 70s, 80s, I guess even in the early 90s classic rock. And I did like to go visit them because we got to, it was a little harder and there was none of that in our house. But I don't remember a time that I ever resented it, not the music piece anyway.
So what's that like when you're kind of getting out of that household and kind of running into different styles of music and being influenced by other stuff, like the classic rock, like the punk rock that you were talking about a little bit earlier? Like, is this really eye-opening to you, or like, because I do see some of those influences shine through too today for you?
It definitely is, and I think now, I've been in Nashville where I am now, it's like just 2.0. I mean, even people that are into country music, there's so much music that I don't know because of just the hyper focused piece of it. It started with the way I was raised, but then I just leaned in hard. But I love it. At first I think as humans, I think we're naturally afraid of the things that are different. So at first I just blow it all off. It's like, ugh, But man, the more I'm around it, I have appreciation for all of it. But yeah, wildly eye opening. From arrangement on down.
Well, one thing I that I'm kind of referring to is you mentioned Guy and Townes, and that style of music that's definitely different than the Hank Thompsons and stuff like that. So when you're getting to that style of music, and I hear that big time in your cuts and in your catalog now, that had to be very eye opening for a songwriter, right? Like when did your inspiration to start writing start happening?
I started doing that pretty young. And it was just, I really don't know where that started. Just that I loved songs and I wanted to bathe in them, you know. When I was really young, I wrote the lyrics for like a bluegrass song. It was before I could play any instrument, but the church band worked it up and did it as part of this big Easter production. So that was cool. And then I want to say I got a guitar like in my early teens, and I worked at this dry cleaners. And so I managed the substation by myself, so I'd sit back there and just write songs all day. But I was not into the songwriter scene really until I graduated and moved out, and people showed me the way. And then I love all the really heavy hitter stuff.
So prior to being shown the way, what does the structure look like in your songs? Like, because I imagine it's probably pretty just what you're hearing on the radio or whatever, or what you're being influenced by without much structure. What's that look like for you?
Um, I don't the little Easter song thing. I must have been 8 or 9,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that I was just taking, and it was intended kind of to be bluegrass, and so I'm sure that I just took like forms, from the stuff that we were listening to, and kind of just applied. This stanza is supposed to be this long, and here you go to the chorus. And then after that, I kind of already had some like just wandering. I just needed it, I think, more than anything, more than any thought. I didn't really share a lot of those songs. I remember playing my grandfather one of them, but it was just more of like a need to just vomit it out, I think, in that time. So, yeah, they were all over the place. Certainly nothing I would play now, but it was just it just kind of existed, good, bad, ugly.
So
There wasn't much structure.
I love the phrase "showed the way" or being shown the way. What does that look like for you? Like, and who is doing the showing?
Man, there were some guys from home that all played, and John Dempsey was one of them. And the guys that kind of surrounded him that played with him, man, they just knew more about music than anybody else I'd ever been around. I knew how much I loved it, and I could show them a bunch of old country stuff that they like wanted to parade around up and think they knew. It was just all kind of spitfire all the time. Like, oh yeah, well you didn't know this cut and this and this, and so I started playing with them and using them as my rhythm section and just being around them as much as I could. And so we all just ran around in a clump. But there's a guy named Josh Garner, the best drummer I've played with still today, from back home, and he just absorbs so much knowledge about music. And he'll do it for anybody too. He'll sort of curate like you need to listen to this, and you should listen to, you should listen to this record, this town's record, and this, And then he kind of like spoon fed it to me, like, oh, Pancho and Lefty,
Mm-hmm.
And then man, but I got ate up with it after that.
See, Pancho and Lefty was monumentous to me too, because like you, I was exposed to classic country at a young age by my dad, and so I didn't really know of Towns and Guy and all of those guys until I moved to Texas in '01. So Pancho and Lefty was always a Willie song, right? To me,
Sure.
Yeah, it was always a Willie song. And then when I heard it, by the songwriter, I was like, whoa. And like it's eye opening, and honestly, that's probably much of the genesis for this show that I'm
Really?
doing now. Is just like hearing the song and the stories from the songwriter is just uber interesting to me, right? And I've been blessed to chat with some amazing frickin' songwriters. I wanted to chat with a little bit because I've been to a lot of your live shows, and I try to pay attention to the banter between songs. And I hear you talking about the Gimble Family a lot. I want you to tell us the impact of the Gimble Family on you as an artist and as a writer.
Man, it's weird you said that. I just saw him like last weekend. I guess the Gimble was part of the band that played. That's a whole other thing. But their daughter Emily, Marilyn, just called me. She's playing like 2 blocks from where I live tonight here in town. But I grew up playing and wanting to do the thing. and I'd gone to a Western swing camp in West Texas that was some kind of. I had my other grandfather, not the one I was raised with, was like real slick and starch and silver bellied kind of guy, and he worked in real estate. And he somehow finagled for me to go to this Western swing camp without asking me about it, whether I wanted to go or not, as part of this real estate deal with a guy that was real into it. Like, well, I got this granddaughter that plays, And so I got suckered in to go into this thing, and it was so awesome. Tommy Alsop ended up being my guitar instructor, and he was like an original Cricket with Buddy Holly, and he played on a bunch of those early Capitol records. Incredible guitar player. He was the instructor. So I met him and another fiddle player named Bob Boatwright. And I just turned 19, so I was old enough to like stay up late with the grown-ups and be around for the jams, and they got me drunk as a skunk on this homemade wine, and it was like I was being indoctrinated. But they were like, "You're from Waco, you need to get connected with Dick Gimble. And Tommy also called him and said, "Hey, this young girl's gonna come to town, and she's going to reach out to you." So I did. I met him, he and Dick and his wife Marilyn, at a Starbucks just across the street from the Hampton Inn I was working at. And I got a little money together when I graduated high school, and I wanted to make a demo. And so he had a studio, and I went and recorded that. It was 4 covers. I didn't have songs that I felt good enough, about recording of my own yet. But I did that, and he just said, I was going to go to school to be a teacher. Because I had wonderful educators, and I wanted to hopefully pass that along. But he just said, "You're too ate up with this, and there's a commercial music program here in Waco," and he taught at that program. So they convinced me to go to school and get my associate's degree. I chose to get it in commercial music management because I didn't want to be taken for a punk. But I also took which has happened plenty, but I felt like I delayed the process a little,
Yeah.
So Gimble taught me guitar through that program, and they have just nourished me all through the years. He's one of the few faculty members in my life that I stay in really pretty constant contact with him. They're going to come when I graduate in May to the ceremony, I think, and they musically, for sure, he's influenced me a lot. Taught me every jazz chord I can play, and he was hard on me, but I'm glad for it because, his whole thing was like, you were not going to walk out of this office being just a punk chick singer. That's not an option for you.
I don't think I've ever been to a show of yours where you did not mention the Gimbles in some fashion. So, but I've seen interviews of yours, and I've never heard you talk about them in an interview. So I just wanted to get that on record. I love that stuff because it's part of your genesis and who you are as an artist and how you came from, a young person to who you are now. Let me ask you this, because you mentioned going to school for something music related. Was there pressure from family to kind of, quote unquote, get a real job?
Early on there was that grandfather that I mentioned, the other one, he's dead now, so I guess I can say this, but that's terrible. He worked for the state at one point and did this thing called the Texas Tomorrow Fund, and so it had paid for 2 years at a community college and 2 years at a 4-year school at the rate of the year that I was born, so it was a significant money saver, and I was going to have an undergraduate degree paid for. But like I mentioned, I got together with the Gimbles, and they convinced me to go to school for commercial music management, and I still would have had an associate's degree, but my grandfather was just so, like, I quote his words were, "I'm not going to throw any money down the rat hole." And so I said, well, keep it. He cashed it in and, bought some property with the interest, and I went to school for commercial music, and I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
And we later repaired our relationship, but he learned rapidly that I'd be damned if somebody's going to tell me what I'm going to do with my life, especially when it's something I love. So after that, nobody really messed with me about it. I went back to school because I very much wanted to. And I'll graduate in May with my master's degree in clinical mental health, but it's taken me 9 years because I've done it all on the road.
Well, first of all, congratulations on that. Like, I know how freaking busy you are as a musician. So going to school while doing all of that too, finding time to write, like, holy crap, man, kudos to you. I find it very ironic that you went to school for commercial music, just because of your traditional country background and who you are as an artist. Because some would say that traditional country is not very commercial nowadays, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two programs they offered, one was like classical, and then one was just commercial music, kind of as an
Sure.
umbrella.
How has that
so-
served you, though, as an artist, do you think, that education?
Oh, big time. Being able to, part of our coursework was building a press kit and learning how streaming had just kind of really started, learning how those royalties trickle down, learning about, digital distribution, learning, yeah, just all how to promote yourself, how to handle yourself when you approach booking, how to manage a band. They had ensemble courses, and I was part of a country band every semester I was there because I loved it. But also, it taught you how to navigate those things, how to run a PA, just kind of 101, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I still today I use it every day. And when I signed my publishing deal here, I called Gimble to kind of walk through it, and he was like, "You've done it." I negotiated my deal by myself, and I ran over it with him, and then my friend Erin Enderlin, who's, she's had a lot and for a time owned her own pub company, so I wanted to be sure that I had it right. But there's no way that people get taken here every day,
Yeah.
So I feel really lucky to at least be equipped with enough knowledge to know I need to be asking questions.
Yeah, I don't want people to get the wrong idea either. I'm a huge traditional country music fan, and it's coming back. It is more commercial now than it ever used to be for a long time. I don't want people to think I'm bad-mouthing it. I'm not. It's just...
But you're right,
It's
though.
been tough to get noticed as a traditional country artist
Sure.
until recently. And I think people like Sierra Farrell and Zach Top and people are bringing it back, and thank God for that. I've been a huge fan of yours for, God, as long as I've known you. And you've been, how did Heather put it? Country is cornbread.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
let's talk a little bit. You did talk about your publishing deal, and I recall when you did sign that publishing deal that you kind of let your fans know about a health issue that you've had, and a really kind of a scare. And I kind of wanted to unpack that a little bit with you too, just to let people know that I think you're probably going to be okay, but maybe people are a little afraid of it. You have like some rare form of blood cancer, right? What's been going on with you?
Yeah, I've had it for 10 years or better. They just missed it in Texas, and it's called essential thrombocythemia. I'm learning all these $3 words. But some people have it, and it never shows symptoms, and you just have high platelets, and it doesn't take any treatment, and everything's good. And that's like 1 in every 100,000 people. And then 1 in every 500,000 people have it, where around the 10-year mark, you start to develop symptoms, and then it can progress to a more aggressive cancer called myelofibrosis, and then AML, which neither of those things are very good. So actually, when I moved here, I mean, it is crazy how things happen. I'd come here, I had an offer for a record deal and a pub deal, and it started off great, and then, negotiations are sticky, and, that's kind of neither here nor there, but we'd been working on that pub deal for months, and I was starving because in the meantime, they weren't paying me,
Yep.
So miraculously here I was able to get health insurance, which I had not had, and I went to see a nurse practitioner here, just a little neighborhood clinic, and she was a blues singer on the circuit, and she got married and had kids and decided that she was going to go to med school. So that was cool, but she did my blood work, and my platelets were high like they always are, so I just said, oh, it's not a big deal. My platelets were always high. And she was like, well, I don't care, you're my patient, you're going to see a hematologist. And I did, and they told me then that I had the cancer, that I had essential thrombocythemia, but they said what I just said to you, like a lot of people don't have symptoms, there's no need for treatment, you just come in every 6 months, get your blood drawn, whatever. So I was definitely freaked out about it, but that didn't feel like earth-shattering to me, really, I told my mom over a text message, like, because I'm just a cold-hearted, terrible person, I guess. Like, yo, I got cancer. See you next week. But I did leave that. I had my pub deal, the copy of it signed, or that I was going to get signed in front of a notary and send it over that week. And I just thought, you know what? I have cancer. I'm signing this today. So I signed my publishing deal the same day I got diagnosed.
Yeah.
So because I just thought that's what I came here to do. But then I'd been having really terrible migraines and nosebleeds and stuff for a long time, but I just attributed it to all this very clean living that I do. And, didn't think really much of it outside of that, but they just kind of got worse. And I was having really crazy bruising. And so I went back and they did a bunch of tests, and like all my blood work was just chaotic. And that doctor was he was great, but he was really overworked, and it's such a weird rando thing. He didn't really know anything about it, and he was like, no, migraines aren't a symptom, blah, blah, blah. And I went twice with an appointment, and he like couldn't see me. And I know had to have been on a need-based thing, but I called Vanderbilt thinking there's no way my insurance is going to cover this. And sure enough, I called on a Wednesday, and before a calendar week was over with, I'd been seen by a specialist that specializes in this type of blood cancer, and I'd had a bone marrow biopsy, which is not something they even thought to offer. And in the biopsy, they found that it was beginning to progress to myelofibrosis, which is less than desirable. But I would take immunotherapy injections twice a month now, and will have to for the rest of my life. But I feel a ton better. My platelets are down, so it turns out your organs need like blood and oxygen and shit like that. And they hadn't been getting it. So, it's kind of a bummer. And, like politics aside, I mean, I hate all of that stuff, but the thought of losing my health care at the end of the year is kind of life or death for me a little bit, you know? And that's not, the shots are like, they bill my insurance $16,000 a month.
Wow.
So that's been a big emotional, like, kick to the neds, I will say, because it was like I moved here, I got this deal, it was great, I have cancer, but it's okay, and then it's not okay, and then is this medicine gonna work? It's just kind of been a roller coaster. And I isolated for the first, I didn't tell anybody outside of my mom and my aunt for like almost a year, because I didn't know how to say it, and I didn't want to shackle anybody with that burden. And at first I just thought, I'm not going to tell anybody I have cancer over taking an aspirin every day or not having to do anything at all. That seems really selfish, because there are people really suffering. But when it started to change, and, knowing that my bone marrow is becoming fibrous, I just felt like people needed to know. I don't really want to make it a huge platform. I did, the American Cancer Society called last week, and I gave them a story and a statement that they're taking to Congress to kind of lobby. And I do hate the division of politics by a long shot, but I know that I'm not the only person that's in a situation like that, or worse.
Yeah. No, you're not,
So.
unfortunately, and hopefully things will get better, not just for you, but for everybody affected by the politics, right? And
Sure.
I mean, just everything's so freaking divisive, and it doesn't need to be that way, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you're feeling okay. I know that's terrifying. I lost my health insurance in 23, so like,
Oh, wow.
I've been there and done that, and I've been going to, quote unquote, a free clinic ever since then, which is not really free, but it's certainly a lot better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel for you, and definitely going to be thinking about you, and yeah. Do you feel like the quality of life has gotten better since knowing what it is and kind of taking the meds for it?
Definitely since I've started treatment. There's no doubt about that. But the knowing part kind of sucked, because it did. This is going to sound really crazy, but I'd gone to, really like 10 years prior, I'd gone to like an urgent care clinic in Texas because I had a cold and I had a big old nasty bruise. And the dude was like, man, that looks weird. We're going to do some blood work. And they sent me to an oncologist then.
Wow.
And my poor mom paid out the wazoo for me to go. And they missed it. They told me I had a really common blood disorder called von Willebrand's disease. And it made perfect sense. And, but because this cancer doesn't really, if it's going to develop symptoms, it usually doesn't before the 10-year mark anyway. I'm kind of glad I didn't know, because I certainly wouldn't have taken as many risks, I don't think. Maybe more so. 24-year-old me was not equipped to deal with that.
Right.
And it would have been an excuse to stay even drunker and been twice as wild, and God knows, I may not have survived that either way. So in that way, I'm glad I did not know then. But I'm so thankful to have had access to, the doctors now. And I'm telling you, there are some days that the medicine kind of makes you feel like you're coming down with a cold, but that's the worst of it. And, you know, exponentially, I didn't realize how tired and like worn out. I was losing my hair, like, but I just didn't, you know, all of the things that like, it all points
I mean,
to the,
I'll keep it real.
highs
As an
and
outsider, you
highs,
looked
but-
tired a lot of the time, right? And I know how much you go, right? Not just, you know, always busy, but how hard you live sometimes. Like, I get that, right? That's part of the life. But yeah, you look tired, and ever since I saw that post that you put out in your group, I mean, you haven't looked as tired. You look a lot healthier since then.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. So
Well, that's good. I think that's great. So, I mean, I don't want to get dramatic here, but it's almost like Nashville saved your life in a way, right? Like kind of getting out there
Yeah.
and getting health insurance and getting looked at, and just a chance meeting with the right blues artist or whatever that happens to be a nurse as well. That's badass. It's kind of cool how serendipitous life can be, right?
oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Man, I want to talk about your songwriting, obviously, being one of my favorites. And, you know, I've interviewed you before, and we've talked a little bit about your songwriting here and there. But just man, you're so descriptive, the imagery of your art, how emotive you can be in your art as well. And I want to kind of get the publishing deal into this too at some point as well, because I feel like that's an interesting thing or an interesting step for you. What tell us a little bit about your process for writing, especially pre-publishing deal, because I imagine it's probably changed a little bit for that.
Yeah, maybe. I will say I am out of my publishing deal now, so it's kind of cool, like the before and after pieces. But I independently, man, it is all over the place. It's sometimes I'll be struck by an idea, or sometimes I'll just be, you know, like stoned and playing my guitar, and something stands out, and so I'll play it again, and like, oh, that could be a part of a melody, and then, you know, you just start playing through it, and like, oh, well, that sounds like it should say this, and you know, then I'll dig in that way. But or you know, it's something I'll see something. Somebody said the other day I was talking about, somebody sent me some flowers, and when I first got them, the lilies weren't open yet, and so I forgot, it was just like the lilies, new lilies bloom every day, I think was what was kind of said in the interchange, and I loved that. I mean, sometimes it's just pulling stuff from that. It really is just all over the place. But it's when I do sit down to write, I turn my phone off, I pull the shades, I eliminate all distraction. I kind of set up a shrine right now in my house, you know, around the piano. I've got but it can happen anywhere. But I like to be real ceremonial about it right now, just because I can be ridiculous in my space. But
So it's
you know,
very
I don't know,
very multifaceted. Then it can be melodic first, it can be lyrical, hook based, title based, just whatever happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible stuff. That's not usual. Like, that's not usual at all.
Nobody's ever been accused me of being very unusual, I would say.
Yeah, recently I had a discussion about the word normal with somebody, and how much bullshit that word is, right? Like, the word normal is such a bullshit word, right? It shouldn't exist.
Sure.
There is no normal. Yeah, so I did not know you were outside of your publishing deal now. I thought that was an interesting step for you because, again, I wouldn't imagine the publishers in Nashville are really looking for a traditional writer right now. Were you surprised as well when it happened?
A little bit, but I always did, sort of, but with intent. I've been coming here and sticking my toe in,
Yeah.
knowing that I sure couldn't afford to live here without work. And so for 5 or better years, I kind of like, I marched my way closer. I lived in Springfield, Missouri, and then Kansas City for a time. And then I did move to Oklahoma, but I just knew that I intended to have it on my own terms, but I did put it into the world that it would come, and it would come because I didn't fold, or it wouldn't come at all, you know. And the way that it happened, I knew an artist, and he started a label underneath the umbrella of Average Joe's, which is Colt Ford's label, which is just seems like it makes no sense at all, but yeah, you'd be really surprised right now. It's really a cool time to be here because, like you mentioned, like Zach Topp and Sierra Farrell, and you know, some of the these writers that have been here a while that, you know, have their mailboxes are made of solid gold, they're aging, and along with it, so is their demographic and their bro country writing style. And so it's a good time to be here right now because there aren't as many people here that are doing this thing, you know? So it's been really fun. And I am really, really good at being poor. So I didn't go into those rights with any kind of thought other than I came here to be who I am. I want to be open and support whoever brought in the idea, but like we're going to get our tenses hopefully correct, or we're going to deliberately screw them up, or we're going to, you know, think a little bit more about this melody, or, you know, I just took my role as like, how can I help whoever is in the room expand on what they do naturally and be proud of it, you know? No, and I say that like it sounds real pompous. I don't go into a room and unless somebody picks at me, I don't really pick back, but I enjoy it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, it's a really great shift in town, right? Like, obviously, I'm not in Nashville, but I pay close attention
Sure.
to what's happening there, just because, look, I have a vested interest in it, not just because of, you know, trying to feed guests to this show, but because I'm just such a huge fan of music and songwriters in general. So the shift that we had, you know, mid 2010s, where it went really bro country heavy and hick hop or whatever you want to call it. It's shifting back a little bit, and it's exciting for a fan like me. Like, I love Sierra Farrell and Sierra Hole and you know, Maggie Antone and Willow Avalon and Benjamin Todd. Like, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Cassius Culpepper. Oh my gosh! Like, what artists are coming out nowadays with just beautiful country music. It's so nice to see that shift again. What do you think you've learned from your publishing deal as a songwriter specifically?
Man, I've learned a lot so far. One of the biggest lessons is kind of what we were just saying, that I can be of use even if it's something that I don't walk away going like, man, I can't wait to go play that. You know, I can still go in and
Kind of
contribute
connect
in
the
a way that
dots.
What's that?
Kind of connecting the dots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And I also have learned that it's really not that daunting. Like, I think for sure for me, I just grew up, you know, as this kid looking off into the horizon, like Nashville's just way over there, you know, and it just felt like this untouchable thing, but it's just full of a bunch of people, just plain old people. And if you just go into it knowing who you are, I think it's okay. But I was really nervous and did not know that before I got here. And I also, like, I learned, like, I went into Spirit Music Group for the first time, and a door guy showed me to the elevator, and the elevator had a touch screen in it. And then I got there, and there was an engineer, and you know, it was just, I walked in, and there was a whole computer set up, and an engineer, and a dude already plugged in with his mic, and we're tracking as we're writing this song, you know. And first, you know, and there's a beat, like an electronic beat being put down, and at first I just thought, like, I don't have a pony in this race at all, you know, like, what the hell is this? But I don't know, I just leaned into, like, okay, then if we're going to do it, we have to stick it and do it right, you know. And I started having fun with it, helping to, like, build chords and inversions and stuff that they, you know, because when they're plowing through it so fast, they're not thinking about nuance at all, and that's irritating to me. But they got excited about it once somebody in the room was willing to say, like, yeah, but you can do better than that. Like, I hear you playing those licks in the break, like, try that, you know. But everybody's too afraid to step outside of the box. And so I just learned that it's okay, you know, that if I got a call back, I began to feel like it was because I was willing to do that, you know.
Yeah, being honest, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I love that, and I think, you know, shoot, you've been in the room with some phenomenal songwriters. I mean, you mentioned Aaron Enderlin earlier. Mutual friend Mark Irwin, you've been in the room with him, just a phenomenal songwriter, and there's been others as well. I imagine one of the things that's probably really helped you is maybe realizing you belong in the room, right?
Yeah, I don't always feel that way, but I'm learning to.
Sure.
You know, I wrote with Marla Cannon the other day, and that
Wow.
was a big bucket list thing,
Yes.
you know. We've written twice together, and there's a girl here, Jada Dreyer, who I just, like, love to
I
write
love
with.
Jada, yes.
Man, she is so talented. And she and I worked on one song for 3 months, and she is one that's, like, willing to do it. And I walked into, I was at Carnival, which is probably my favorite of the publishing houses that I've played or written at so far. But Drew Kennedy held his session because I was coming. Years ago, I had asked him, how to approach the pub deal thing. And he sent me a 3-page essay on like what I needed to do and set me up with my first meeting. And so then,
that
all these
sounds
years
like
later,
Drew. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's a gift, man.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm just now. That's been hard, because there's a line of like the minute I think I'm doing something right, I've failed.
Yeah.
Once I think I've conquered it, So I don't want to get too caught up in that, but it has been nice to go like, damn, I did it.
Yeah. What a great list of people, man. Marla Cannon is a treasure, man. Like, holy crap! Like, talk about somebody who is known as somebody else's relative first and foremost, and should be known for who she is as a songwriter on her own merit. More than that, in my opinion. Holy crap, is she a writer?
Man.
Jesus, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. I asked her to be on the show, and when she said yes, I went out and had a celebratory drink. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's big, right? Like, oh, man, what a great singer-songwriter. Let's talk a little bit about the new record that came out in 2024. I guess it's not new anymore, but it's just incredible. This was kind of a debut for you, too, like a label debut, right? It's called The World's Weight. How was this record different than what you had done independently, do you feel?
Well, the weird thing is that I made that record independently.
Okay.
This kind of stuff like happens to like exactly nobody in the thing, so I feel really grateful for that. But I had crowdfunded that record. We made it in Oklahoma City. My friend Nooch produced it, and man, it just took forever. It felt like I just hit so many roadblocks. We'd started it in Texas, and I'm picky and was not satisfied, and so it really got pushed out, and I felt horrible about that because I owe these people these things and don't want them to think I'm not working, and there was so much stress around that. And then Bryan Martin, who is the guy that connected me with Average Joe's, he called, and he is the one who is starting an Americana label underneath their Average Joe's umbrella. And so I just said, like, that's fine and great, and that sounds all perfect. But I have this record, and I am obligated to release it. So either take this record and consider that I've got $30,000 in the recording of this record. So that's $30,000 that you can put into promotion. Or I'm not coming. Or we'll wait, but I'm releasing this record because I promised it to these people. And they took the record. So I got to make the record I wanted. They mastered it. But outside of that, we did everything. So that felt pretty good.
How's that relationship been with Bryan and them?
Stormy. The staff at Average Joe's is awesome.
Yeah.
Bryan is just in a complicated place in his journey, I think. And unfortunately, my record and my deal kind of got caught up in the undertow of that. And he's really in control of a lot of his career is the source of a lot of commerce over there right now.
Yeah.
So kind of depending on where he is, certain things get done or don't. But that's not any fault of the label. And I still really, I have a lot of respect for Bryan, and we've written some really cool songs together.
Yeah, he's a killer songwriter. I just hope he gets this stuff behind him because he's a super nice guy as well.
I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No, you're fine.
I don't have anything really like ugly to say by any stretch, but it was a difficult time, I think, for everybody involved, and me too, being here and new. And then I didn't tell them that I'd been diagnosed with cancer either, because I didn't want to be, that it's like cutting out the weak cow from the herd, So, emotionally looking back on it, I was probably not the easiest, because I was extra hell bent that things were going to be my way, so. I definitely don't look at it as a bad experience. And Mike, who runs their publishing office, is awesome. Like, he connected me. He's still giving me opportunities. I'm probably not supposed to say that out loud, but, now that I have all of my publishing back. And, too, they let me negotiate my deal, so I kept half of my publishing.
Wow.
I get all of my writer's credits and half my pub. So I don't have a complaint,
Yeah.
It was just, I learned a lot.
It's just I love the record. It's just a little bit different, right? Like it's different for Kayla Ray from what I remember. I gotta throw this out there just for folks that may not have heard the song. This is an obscure Kayla Ray song that I'm about to discuss, but it's my favorite one, and I wish more people knew about it. You might remember, maybe not, but my favorite one of your songs is "Dying to Learn to Fly."
Oh wow.
Yeah, just love that song. I believe it was like the last song on a record, wasn't it?
Yeah, on my first record, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yep, my favorite one of all time, man. I hope you guys will check it out there. I wanted to make sure we get that in here because it's such an underrated song that needs more air, more light of day. Yeah, of course. Last thing before we get into the second song that we're going to play for everybody, I wanted to chat with you a little bit about the road life. I know how busy you are out there, and I've been watching you and following along for so long, and the different towns and all the different venues and just the crazy life that you lead. The question I have is, through all that chaos, are you still finding time for yourself and kind of the beauty of life as well?
I used to be a lot better about it. I think wrapping up this degree is really taking a whole lot of my time. But I will say, like, I think that I do. It's just not always in the same place, you know.
Sure.
I will stop at any, like, we've had some of the best experiences just stopping at random spots and just spending the day getting to know people. So I definitely could and should be better about it. But it used to be just that I would just take off and go. I intend to go before too long to a little town called Butler, Tennessee. I finished a song about a woman that their city park is named after,
Yep.
you know, and I don't know anything else about it really. So yeah, I used to be
That was Babe
a lot
Curtis,
better about
right?
it. And what's that?
Babe Curtis?
Yeah, Selma
Yeah.
Babe Curtis.
Yep.
That man, I'm proud you remembered that.
Yep. Yeah, I heard the song when you played it in Winsboro last month. I guess it was September? Has it been that long already? Jeez.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, wow.
Man, that's one of the first times I'd played that song out. It's new.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. It was a good one. I like it. You actually made me look up the story. So good,
awesome.
Good job on
Good.
that. I'm kind of a history nerd anyway, so
Me too.
when I hear songs like that, I have to go look. That's what I love about you too, is just writing about anything you feel like writing about, right? Like, who cares whether it's going to sell or how many people are going to listen to it? Like, you know, I'm just going to write what's my soul, and people like it, then great, man. That freedom of yours is so awesome. Let's chat a little bit about the second song that we're going to play for folks out there. It's called Ride Till We Get Home is the one I chose. Tell us about this one.
Oh man, I'm really curious about which recording did you where?
She's like, where'd you find that? Hold on, I'll tell you. I got it from Jim Parker.
Okay, so this song is actually called Number 9 Diesel.
Okay,
And
I'll change it.
I remember they put it as that, and the funny part about it is the hook is Ride Till We Get Off. So they got it all kinds of wonky, but that's such a cool room. I think that spot's in Alabama.
Yes, Huntsville. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that song is called Number 9 Diesel. That's funny. That was pretty new then too. Aaron and I were on that show, I think. So when I introduced it on stage, I call it a slightly smutty swing song about a train.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Looking forward to y'all seeing it, and I'm glad we cleared that up. Maybe I'll let Jim know so he can change the title of it on his YouTube as well.
Oh, that would be awesome because
Yeah.
I feel like an asshole. I don't want to.
No. I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Hey, Kayla don't want to be an asshole. I'll be the asshole.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Here's Number 9 Diesel by Kayla Ray. Y'all check it out.
Take it easy, take it slow. Take it however you want it, take it wherever it goes. You can ride from before sunup till well in the evening when her whistle moans. Got a long hill climb, and we're rocking o'er the trusses, but we're checking in good time. riding half momentum and half just a hot steel line. Stomping his way through the heartland. And if we ain't making tracks from coast to coast, if the folks back home should ask, tell 'em I'm still living. Hell, I'm just living a little harder than most. So don't call me at station. There's no fair to be born, and don't pull your switchback brakeman. I will just ride till we get home. Just use your imagination. I will just ride till we get home.
All right, so we are back, and so I have some having fun segments. This is basically like my whole platform is different from when I used to do this back in the day. Like when you and I first met, I was real willy-nilly what I did. Like I had an outline, but it wasn't really structured in any way. And in my hiatus, I took a couple years off from doing this. I kind of started working on a format to make it more circular, more, like I said earlier, more of a genesis of the creative, right? Try to figure out where it came from. But I always love doing these having fun segments. And over time, this has kind of evolved to add more stuff. And I'm adding a new one today, so you will be a guinea pig if you choose it. So the way this works is I will give you a choice between two different segments on some of these. The first one will include our new segment. I'm not going to tell you which one is new, okay?
Okay.
Choose either Did You Know or Algorithm.
Oh, gosh. I mean, this is foolish because I already know less about it than, but I guess I got to go with algorithm.
All right, so this is our new segment. She chose the new one. All right, so I just came up with this last night while I was sleeping. I don't know how this came to be. So I want to know, first of all, which platform do you use more, TikTok or YouTube?
Oh, I'm terrible with both, but I guess, what are you talking about, as a consumer or like?
As a consumer, yes.
Oh, YouTube.
All right, so tell us what's on your YouTube algorithm.
Oh, okay. It's like how to get stains out of polyester. Let's see. How to use a soldering iron. I'm into that. Actually, I have it right here. I'm gonna learn how to do this before I die. Damn it. I'm so tired of breaking cables and not being able to do anything about it. But in the meantime, I tried to make stained glass, and it looks like just terrible, like just cemented spit all over it. But anyway, that and it's all music stuff. Like I did a crazy deep dive on just anything I could find about Willie Nelson, like the early stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that. There's one like Ralph Emery thing where it's Roger Miller and Tex Ritter, and then like one of the I'm gonna lie to you about. It's one of the brother duos, like the Everleys or
Osborns?
Maybe. What is it?
Was it the Osborns?
No, it's like the
Walker Brothers?
The ones that did like Satan Is Real, the like really old. It's not the Wilburn Brothers. Anyway. They do this harmony thing where they create a third pitch with their two voices. It's so close
the
together.
Louvin brothers.
Thank you,
Yes.
Charlie Louvin.
Yeah.
And Roger Miller and Tex Ritter on the Ralph Emery show. And Ralph Emery's just a pup, and it's a really early like just TV broadcast. And Charlie Louvin and Roger Miller are friggin' blasted. Like they've been awake all night long. And Tex Ritter just gets increasingly more and more furious about it. And he's trying to like stifle it. And Ralph Emery says something about like, didn't somebody need to go pick up your wife from the airport? And Roger Miller's like, oh hell, I went and got her last night. And it just looks like you can see Tex Ritter sweat in anger. You know?
I'm gonna have to check this out. Oh my God,
So
that's great.
it's a bunch of like random how to, I'm on this like little manic snap trying to figure out how to take over the world videos, and then just music
Good
stuff,
stuff.
you know.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought of that segment, but I think it's going to be funny going forward. All right,
Yeah,
next
it's
segment
awesome.
is called Impactful. This is kind of new too.
Okay.
Can you tell us 3 people that impacted your life in some way, and then tell us the number one thing you learned from each of those people?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, hmm. There's a lady named Jamie Schmidt back home who really early on in my school stuff, I had her as a instructor and a supervisor, and she is just her story is crazy. She lost a son, and then got dealt with like opioid addiction, and did some like criminal time, and then got out, got her master's degree, and she birthed the whole reintegration program for the state of Texas as a therapy model for people coming out of prison to reintegrate successfully to civilian life, because especially in substance abuse, people come out at such a disadvantage. You're looked over for work, you're looked over for housing, and so when you get out and you're already at that deficit, it's a lot harder to stay out. So she has been just awesome, and she doesn't like. There's no bullshit in her game. It's not like, you know, she will go toe to toe with grown men over the rights of her clients, and
Good.
so she's awesome. And then I let's see here. Um, I'm gonna say Lisa Tamling at Papa Joe's in Lorena. She Papa Joe's is where I played my first show ever,
Wow.
and it's the only time I play, the only place I play back home. I played it. I mean, all this, gosh, I don't know, 15 years now. But I remember I booked that show, and I'd seen it in our little local newspaper. We had this Access Waco, and it was like where you saw all the bands and stuff that were playing in town. And I thought one day I'm gonna be in that. And I went down. They had this band open mic thing where they had a rhythm section and you got to get up and sing, and that was just like the shit slingingest country band ever. And my grandparents had no idea that I was in this bar, And I went down and sang some songs. And so as I built my first band, I called them first because I'd kind of been building a relationship with Lisa, and who was a drummer, by the way, of the band. Her mom owned the bar, but she was doing all the booking. And I booked a show. It was 4 hours for like, a quarter of the bar sales for the night or something. And we weren't ready. I mean, we practiced and practiced, but it was gonna just embarrass myself and all of us too. So I called Lisa and I just apologized and said it was 2 weeks before, and I said I know I'm giving you late, and I just felt like such a huge failure, like the first paying gig I'd ever booked. I had this band, I sold this shit out of it, and then I had to call her and tell her like, I'm so sorry, we're not ready. And she said, well, honey, would another 2 weeks, could you be ready in 2 weeks? And like if we gave you another. And I was like, yes, ma'am, absolutely. And
Wow.
so she ended up playing drums on the show because I just, I went back in there. She's like, what is the problem? I'm like, well, the drummer this and that, Gimble came and played bass, and Lisa played drums so that my first show we could finish the set. So, and Papa Joe's just lets me kind of do whatever I want. If I'm coming to town, I can have the space. I've had writers rounds. Meredith Crawford came to town. I set up like a gold curtain and a tea party, and we drank Lone Star beer out of porcelain all night.
I
And,
just saw Meredith Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She talk about a hoss. I learn from her every time I'm around her, man.
Yeah, she's
She's
amazing. Incredible.
she's so good.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I guess I'll say my first pastor, that when I was telling you about, that would teach the Luke the Drifter songs, and when church was in session, and then like get to the country music part. Otherwise, and it wasn't from a place of hypocrisy at all. He just understood that like I don't know, I'm not really involved in church now even, but just that the gospel is about humans. It's not about like perfection. The church they actually tried to fire him once and then hired him back because they realized, and their whole thing was that I don't know, they took like the doctrine of the Southern Baptist Convention and laid it on his desk, and he wasn't filling those roles, and he was like, my obligation is to the Bible and not to this doctrine of the Southern Baptist Convention, so that's fine. And then they hired him back. He just I really enjoy people that are who they are and that are willing to stand up for it even when it's not the popular thing. And he saw in me that I needed something to be rooted to, that I really, really believed in, because if not, I'd have been crazier than I am now.
I find it very serendipitous that the three people are essentially people that kind of went against the grain, right? And that's kind of who you are as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Trying to be.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. All right, next segment. Choose either Mount Rushmore or one artist.
Ooh. Mount Rushmore.
Okay, so who is on Kayla Ray's Mount Rushmore of most influential songwriters?
Okay. Before I do this, I'm going to sound really stupid, but how many people are on Mount Rushmore?
Four. Four of them,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So, most influential songwriters?
Influential to you now, not to the
okay.
world. Yeah.
Okay. I have to say Merle Haggard, because I think his writing was every bit as strong, if not stronger, than any other of his assets. Because if for nothing else, he wrote stylistically so well for himself. His phrasing is so unique but so intentional. And he was a big part of building all those arrangements. He looked past just melody and lyrics and created this colorful bed. So yeah, him and Towns, for sure. Towns. I mean, I just laid into that to a detriment almost. I mean, I spent Christmas of I don't even remember what year now, 14 or 15, in a crappy hotel, with somebody brought me gumbo and I'm allergic to shellfish, and gas station mimosas, because I just couldn't handle the world and had to go hide away and stay drunk and write, Spent all of my money for this hotel room for 3 days,
Yeah.
So Towns, for sure. Tom T. Hall.
Nice.
He said, what was his thing? He said, I'm not, I forgot, he, of course, is Tom T. Hall, so he said it much more eloquently than this, but his whole thing was that I'm not advanced or, well-structured songwriter, but I'm an excellent observer, is what he said of himself. And I think that's so true, because he just makes everyday people and moments just vividly come to life.
Harper Valley PTA, just, oh my God, man.
You see every one of those people.
Absolutely.
You see that as it's happening,
yes, yes, absolutely, yep.
Man, and that Homecoming song, oh my gosh. All of them, yeah. And I want to say Willie Nelson, but I feel like those are just so, that's the answer anybody would give. But because he leaned so hard into jazz, I think, I think that's a huge thing for me. Maybe also Harlan Howard. Maybe
Great
that's
answer.
a better answer than,
that's a great answer, yeah.
Yeah. Man, because he's just he's a pillar.
Royalty, yes, absolutely. A name that more people need to know of, right? Like Harlan Howard.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so sad that some of these guys and girls weren't artists, so people don't know their name. But oh my gosh, just look at the freaking songwriter credits at the end of a song or something, and then you'll notice Skip Ewing is another one. Don Schlitz, there's so many.
Don Schlitz.
Yeah. Jesus, man. Look at the liner notes. That's all I gotta say. All right, next segment is called What the Heck. This is kind of a game show style rapid fire 5 questions. The questions are designed to put a visual in your head, and then you tell me whatever comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
No change in your answer if you can help it, though, okay? All right.
Okay.
Number 1, which celebrity annoys you the most?
Ugh. Man, I really don't know. I just stay so buried. Sheesh, man. I want to say Taylor Swift because she's the celebrity I can think of, but she's not really done anything wrong.
Right.
I don't know.
Usually the go-to is Kim Kardashian. I'll give a different answer, though, a different question. What is the funniest thing you have ever wore?
I've ever worn?
Yes.
Maybe that floofy thing I wore in Winsboro.
Oh, that thing was
No,
badass.
I went backstage and Charlie Stout was like, "So, did you steal that from the choir loft?" Or,
Oh my God, Charlie, man.
That was great.
All right. I liked it, first of all. I thought it was cool. All right, number 2. On a scale from 1 to 10, how intolerable do you find baby pictures to be on social media?
Oh, like 3.
Okay. 3's not bad, I guess. All right, number 3. Let's see. What do you think cats dream about?
Probably just like ruling the world. You know, they just walk around so pompous, like they
Yeah.
got it all figured out.
I
know?
think that's-
I just see them like they're the Sphinx and they're just looking out over Great Egypt.
I think that's accurate. I have to ask this next one just because of how descriptive you are in your songwriting and bringing an image to mind. This ought to be fun. Okay, I'll try to ask it. Who knows where this answer is going to go. All right, here we go. If a penguin walked into your room right now wearing a sombrero, why is he there and what is he doing?
Looking for an ice bath and a margarita.
All right, that's great. All right, number 5. Let's see here. All right, number 5. Have you ever tripped on stage? And everybody has, so I know you're probably going to say yes. The question is actually, if you have tripped on stage, then how did you play it off as cool?
Oh man, I've had 2 really bad ones, but there was definitely no pulling it off. Like one was before I had like signed the deal, any of that. I went out with Bryan and his crew for a run, and like the run ended, and he was opening for Jason Aldean. Like this is not small time shit. And I was nervous, and I went out and I sang a duet with him, and I was clinging desperately to a Dos Equis because I didn't have an instrument in my hand, And I walked off stage and I hit the first, and my boots were real worn, I guess I walked bow-legged, and I stepped just wrong on those aluminum stairs. And I mean, both of my feet came up off the ground. My beer, like I just spilled beer all, over
God.
everybody that was there. And I ate shit just right on those stairs. And it was so bad that there was an audible, ooh, from the stairs. It was horrible.
Did this make TikTok?
God, I hope not. I don't know.
Oh my God. Oh man, Dos Equis girls buys it on the stairs or something.
It was terrible.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, choose one. Wait a minute, was that number 5? It was. Okay, so that was What the Heck with Kayla Ray. All right, next segment. Choose either bucket list or fly on the wall.
Ooh, fly on the wall.
All right, so which room in history do you wish you were a fly on the wall in?
Oh man, that's great. I want to say like when they were signing the Emancipation Proclamation, and how hard those guys worked for that.
I love that.
Yeah, I think I'd love to have seen that and just kind of poured. I don't know. To see the passion that people who, I feel like the populations that protected were so separate from the lives that those guys were living. And so to see empathy in real life like that, I think it would be pretty cool.
Man, what a great answer. I love that so much.
Thanks.
All right, next one. Choose either moment of gravity or biggest lesson.
Biggest lesson.
All right, so what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned directly from music?
Oh gosh. Gratitude. Like I'll never be good enough at it. And that's a gift in itself because it's inconquerable. And so can't get bored really with it, and as hard as I feel like it at times in seasons anyway, that I try to do that, and the time I give it and the space in my life that I give it, it gives back in threefold. I mean, it's created my whole life. I mean, my world could have been so different. Even the therapy pieces, I think that came because I get to meet so many people, and I mean, outside of the fact that I'm crazy myself and I want to eliminate the middleman, but I don't know,
Oh my God.
Total gratitude that there's never been a time that music didn't cradle me, even from being a young kid, allowing me to feel seen in some way.
Golly, this is why we do this show, man. You're killing it. All right, and it's so funny. My next segment is called Grateful.
Okay.
So incredible stuff. What are the 3 things you're most grateful for?
my little shit of a dog in there. She's awesome, and I don't know what I'd do without her. She's the coolest, man. And I took her the other night. I got invited to go play Uno at Ward Davis's house, and that big tall dude laid on the floor with that dog. And she's just so chill with everybody. Okay, so her for sure, and she's a silent witness, so that's good. I also what was the thing? The 3 things I'm the most grateful for.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, music, I guess, has to be there for sure. And I think for like having examples that just exemplified stubborn will, like for most things in life, there's not a definite no. It may look different than what you think, but there's a way,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't do well with no myself. Yeah. I get a lot of emails that get unanswered. I send a lot of emails, a lot of invitations to the show, and a lot of them get yeses. I get very few no's, but I get a lot of no responses, and those just drive me crazy. Like, I will email you over and over again until you give me an answer. Like, don't.
Sometimes you got to be like that.
Yeah, man, and it's like trying to find the balance between perseverance and annoyance, right? Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't know that there is one, because then once you get in it and if you perform and do your thing well like you do, then,
Well, thank you for that. Yeah.
Well,
last segment is called "Who Do You Think You Are?" So, who is Kayla Ray?
Oh God. I wish you could just see this soldering irons and craftsman tools and a suitcase and a box of stuff I'm selling on eBay because the great winter of 25 is coming. And
yeah, sure is.
I don't know, just like a scavenger. I don't know.
The great winter of 25.
Man, touring slows down. So I've been thinking of gathering ways to, just kind of keep calm myself.
Yeah.
And keep my brain occupied, I think.
Yeah.
So I would say that I'm a scatterbrain who likes to be artfully disheveled.
All right, so now I got to decide if that's what I want to use for the title of the episode, or what I already have, which is really good at being poor.
Anyway, all of the above.
Oh my God, that is so awesome. Man, we got Kayla Ray here. I want to let you guys know where you can follow Kayla, and the website is KaylaRayMusic, all spelled out, .com. We're going to put a link in the description below for that. I'm also going to let you guys know where you can follow on your favorite social medias. The Facebook is at Kayla Ray Music 1. That's the number 1, not the word. Instagram is at Kayla Ray Music. TikTok is at Kayla Ray Music, X is at Kayla Ray Music, and YouTube is at Kayla Ray Music 5738. So that means somebody got your Facebook and your YouTube. What's up with that?
News to me. I don't know. I want to say maybe the label set up another YouTube thing. I didn't know that about Facebook. Yeah, I did not know.
Well, you guys follow that, all of those, or whichever one is your favorite one. Kayla, what would you say is the best way for folks to support you?
Following and sharing on social media, and and coming to the shows, or just maybe connecting us with local venues in your area. Any of those, all of the above. Listening, streaming.
I forgot about the group too. There's a phenomenal group of fans that you have on Facebook called Room 402, which is after one of your phenomenal songs. You guys should join that as well. That's a great idea. I wish more artists did that. The whole Facebook group. There's a lot of interaction there for you, right?
Yeah, I love it. I started journaling in that thing.
I
just wrote the 147th entry, I think, yesterday maybe, and I love it, man. That's one of those gifts of music. The group of people that are everybody's kooky in their own person, and I love it. And they're all so supportive of one another.
Right.
And we don't really tolerate. It's never happened either, but those people don't tolerate anything other than good stuff.
Yeah, the positive. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you, Kayla. Thank you so much for making this work. I know that we danced around for a while, and I'm glad that it came to be. And I just appreciate you so much. I'm such a huge fan of yours, not just as a musician and an artist, but as a person. Thank you for your friendship over the years.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for patience with me getting this all situated. But I'm really glad it worked out to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jessie Lee. Thank you for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.